ಆರ್ ಕೆ ಮಿಶ್ರಾ ಅವರೇ, ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಪಬಿಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅವರೇ, ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಂಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಬಟ್ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇವರು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಮುಂದೆ ಬೆಳೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇದೇ ಥರ ನಾವು ನಮಗೂ 20-30 ವರ್ಷ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಾವು ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾಗ, ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ಯಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಈ ಥರ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳು ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡಿ, ರಾಜಕೀಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು ಒಂದು ರಾಜಕಾರಣಿಯವರ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ದೊಡ್ಡಪ್ಪ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಬಂದವರು. ನಮ್ಮ ದೊಡ್ಡಪ್ಪ ದಿವಂಗತ ಎಂ ವಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣಪ್ಪನವರು 1942 ಕ್ವಿಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ನೆಹರು ಅವರ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ 10 ವರ್ಷ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರು. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆ 6 ಸತಿ ಲೋಕಸಭಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರು. ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ಎಂ ವಿ ವೆಂಕಟಪ್ಪನವರು, ಅವರು 22 ವರ್ಷ ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇವೆ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ವಿಧಾನ ಪರಿಷತ್ತಿನ ಸಭಾಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ದರು. ಕೊನೆಗೆ ವಿಧಾನಸಭಾ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರನ್ನು ಆಗಿದ್ದರು. ಸೊ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಲಿ ದ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ that I grew up in was very, very inspiring. It was an environment where I grew up on the stories of the freedom movement and their own adventures, because they were very young during the freedom movement, and and they were being young, they were also not as peaceful and non-violent as Mahatma Gandhi was. So they were in all kinds of troubles with the law and things of that sort. Anyway, it was a very inspiring upbringing, and from a young age I basically focused on, I also want to do something for the country. And this is a quest that I'm on for a long time, and it is still an ongoing journey. Anyway, at a young age, I decided that along with the political side of life, I would also focus on getting expertise, right? My reasoning was that there are no major movements. Basically, what we have ahead of us is to learn how to govern. So I decided to follow the American model, where top professors like Henry Kissinger would go and join the cabinet and become foreign ministers and things like that. So I said, okay, let me get expertise in economics and public policy. So I switched from science to arts, got a gold medal in political science. I was a student union leader in St. Joseph's College, got a scholarship and went to the US and picked up a PhD in public policy and management from the Wharton School. So in some sense, some amount of qualifications, in politics, people say we want a qualified person. Qualified, tick. Atara. Other bitre, then of course, the world changed along the way, right? In the old days, it was entirely possible to be qualified and committed and be a politician. Today, once I came back to India after about 16-17 years in the US, the world had changed. Suddenly, elections had become very expensive. And basically, people were looking and saying, you know what? This family has not made money. How can you give him the ticket? This is the... And I would tell people, look, it's not that I cannot raise money. I have a lot of wealthy friends and backers. That's not the issue. We don't need money because, we get covered in the media. We know how to use the internet. I'm giving talks in colleges on a weekly basis. So there are other ways of connecting with people and getting into their hearts and minds. We don't have to just spend money. What is this money spent on? Some amount of it is spent legitimately. A lot of it is spent illegitimately, bribing voters and things of that sort. Right? But I firmly believe that each and every one of you, if you concentrate in your wards and work creatively to connect with the people, to solve their problems, to lend a ear, right? To lend a hand, you will be able to get such a large number of people who swear by you, who will be your loyal supporters, that you will not need to indulge in a single corrupt practice going forward. And when B.CLIP identifies you and gives you an opportunity to, they're backing you with their resources, with their support, with a larger team of people. Nitin Pai, myself, all of us are going to be part of the team that is going to come and interact with you in the classroom. We will give you we'll all get a chance to really reinvent politics from the ground up. Already, we are hearing rumors that Delhi is going to see all kinds of strange election results. Strange for, since I'm a national spokesperson of the Congress party, these are alarming, not just strange but alarming. But, so we'll reserve judgment until day after tomorrow. But basically, I firmly believe that expertise and knowledge is something that we must draw upon, right? And we've not had a chance, but this opportunity is giving us that. A few months, Sridhar and I worked together. He was COO in the Center for Public Policy when I was the chairperson, and we created a program called India Women in Leadership. This was aimed at creating a cadre of women MLAs and Lok Sabha members, especially in the event that the reservation comes in. And we had designed a very detailed, substantial program, and our graduates are out there contesting elections, ZP presidents, things like that. And I do see a bright future for many of them, very passionate, very committed. But, one of the key things that came out of the whole exercise was that politics can be taught, that we can learn from the lessons, the experiences of large numbers of others, right? And we have to go with that openness of mind. Okay? There was an NDTV show, which was covering this initiative of ours, and Jaya Jetli and others were criticizing us, saying, you cannot teach politics in the classroom. So I said, if I can teach business in the classroom, which is what management schools have been doing for 100 years, that's another practical discipline, right? Similarly, we can talk about and learn about politics, because politics is partly about your own relationships. It's also about so what we did in that program, I'll just take 2 minutes and tell you about the design of that program. There may be some parallels here. We divided it into 3-4 dimensions, right? We called one dimension policy. So we had people from different fields who were experts on a subject come and talk. So maybe Jairaj came and gave one lecture on the energy situation in India. He has been in the power sector for a long time in India and internationally, right? So you get to know something about the key issues, as if you were the minister for power, you would know what to do. The main highlights in the one lecture is hardly enough, but that's the kind of thing. We covered a range of portfolios. We also did a session on politics, where we focused on very, very practical things. We did a model parliament where people played roles and did an amazingly good job. They were all natural MPs, I would say. And then we focused on understanding constituencies, looking at voter registration as a move to connect with voters and to make sure that everyone's in. We looked at leadership. We did a variety of, sort of lectures on that. We did, anyway, we've got to make sure that website is up. But there's tremendous amount of content, including about opinion polling, and we even had people come and talk about agitations and how do you go out there and, protest in a constructive manner, and working with the media. Lots of different very practical lessons, which we never get. Most of us learn politics by observing others. And a lot of others are not necessarily doing anything new or interesting. Someone new like Kejriwal who comes in and breaks the paradigm is able to have so much impact because they are creative and imaginative, and of course they're taking on the establishment with a particular message. Right. We had another dimension called perspective, which was particularly important in that context because it focused on gender issues, on issues related to women, because that was what the program was about. And then there was one whole section on personal development. So I would urge you, Nitin, to also include opportunities for people to learn to practice their public speaking, to speak to a camera, to participate in debates on camera. You could simulate all of these because these are the methods through which you communicate and get people to know who you are, right? Get people to talk to a newspaper and get a column for B.CLIP, where each person writes an article occasionally, right? So these are all different ways of communicating with larger numbers of people, and these are many of the things that we try to do in this program. Anyway, the larger story is that, as long as you are passionate, you're committed, you maintain an adherence to your principles, you know what you want to do. You're in this because you want to bring about change, positive change. And as Mohandas Pai was saying, positive change can emerge from the grassroots. The grassroots are where the numbers are also manageable. Now, I'm prepared, you have what, 40, 50,000 in a ward, more or less? Yeah, that's, sounds like a large number, but it's actually manageable. I'm preparing to run for parliament from Bangalore North. The numbers are 20 lakhs and above, right? I would like to meet everyone, but I don't know how that is even possible, right? So there are all kinds of possibilities when you focus on the ground. You look at creating local manifestos and a track record of action. We've already, some of us have been working on fixing garbage black spots, right? I would not have imagined 6 months ago that it was possible, right? But when we sat together with people who had some knowledge on these subjects, worked with the corporator, worked with the officials, we were able to do magic, and we are planning to do much more. So basically, the attitude of, let's stop pointing fingers, let's instead join hands. That sort of attitude will really go a long way in transforming the city. I think the fact that we have some of the leading lights of the city who have come forward and created this kind of program is just a tremendous gift that Bangalore has got. These are people giving back to Bangalore for what Bangalore has given them. All of us have also been nurtured in this very wonderful, positive environment. I also talk about the industry leaders who are involved in B.CLIP and point out that they are people who grew and became world-class without corrupting the system. Right? A lot of other industrialists have come up, but they have come up through cutting, making shortcuts and corrupting the system. These are people who have not, and in that sense, it's a real pleasure to work with them, to see that they are investing back in society with an intention of improving governance and creating a cadre of all of you who will go out there and be the vanguard. Doesn't matter what party you're in, you are going to be the agents of change who are going to make this new India of the 21st century possible, starting right here in Bangalore with all of you. I'm happy to be part of your mission, and I look forward to working with you and to see all of you grow and transform as major political leaders in the future. All the very best. Thank you.